Welcome everyone to the video. If you like this video and find it useful, please leave a like and leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe so you can see when I post new videos. Today we're going to cover in this video Module 12, installing Windows. Alright, so let's go ahead on to the first question. So you are planning to install Windows 10 on your computer and must decide which file system to use on the hard drive. What file systems are available in Windows 10 for a logical hard drive? Select all that apply. Now it doesn't tell you how many to select, but let's go down the elimination list. Well, you know, CDFS is compact disk file system, so we're not going to use that one for a logical drive. That's for an optical drive. EXFAT, extended FAT, is for a high capacity SD drive or pen drive, usually for USB devices. Your ext4, that does not work with Windows logical drives as well. So what we're looking at, the last two that's remaining, is your NTFS and your FAT32 or FAT32 are your two correct answers. So the correct answers for number one is NTFS and FAT32. All right. So let's go ahead down to number two. So for number two, we have Scott has just installed Windows 8.1 and needs to install several applications on the computer before returning it to his client. What should Scott check prior to installing the application? Check all that apply. So once again, there's no, they don't tell you the number that you need. So let's go ahead by eliminating, starting first with CPU priority. So since he just installed Windows 8 CPU priority, could be a priority, but not in this situation, because he needs to install several applications on the computer before returning it to his client. So yeah, CPU priority wouldn't really count here, just the applications. So what he would, the next one, let's get out if network status, because he may be on a different network, but installing applications at that time doesn't really matter. It is important if there were network applications, but in this case there's other items more important. So your two correct answers would be hard drive space. If he's installing applications, he needs to make sure he has enough space to install his applications. And then next, your system requirements, to make sure that he has the requirements, everything he needs, whether it's RAM, certain type of processor, to install and run those applications. All right. So that way, if it's something that he needs that's not in the computer, either his choice is not to install the application or get more RAM for the computer or whatever else it needs. All right. So the answer for number two is hard drive space and system requirements. All right, next on to number three, another multiple answer. So what two methods are available for Windows to use to partition a drive? So let's eliminate the obvious two that are not. UEFI is an updated version of BIOS, so you don't really need that for partitions. And exFAT, that's extended FAT. That's for like I said, a high capacity SD card or USB storage device. That's not really needed. So the correct answers are master boot record, MBR, and GPT. Those are the two methods are available for Windows to use a partition in the drive. So the correct answer for number three is MBR and GPT. All right, so on to number four. This was only a single answer, so let's go. Tracy has completed installing Windows 7 on a computer and is ready to install a printer. Tracy attaches the printer to the computer and a message pops up that a new device is being installed. When the process is done, she tries to locate the printer, but the printer is not available. What can Tracy do to use the printer? All right, so let's look at the first possible choice. Turn the printer off and on again. That's probably not going to help. So she has a new operating system. If it didn't, the operating system already had the computer restart several times. So if it didn't fix the printer situation, and none of those restarts probably not going to help it again. Next, check the UEFI and BIOS to make sure printing is enabled. There's no printing enable sign, or there's no enable in the printer in BIOS or UEFI. Now, you can enable a USB port that the printer is connected to. But however, if the printer was running before and you change operating systems, well, it didn't change operating systems, but the printer was working before and you didn't disable that USB port, it's not going to get disabled by accident or by default. It's going to be enabled by default. So that's not the answer. So check the printer cable. Yeah, you can do that, but like I said, chances are there's something else wrong with it. So the correct answer is install the driver from the manufacturer's website. So if there's a driver for it, it might be a generic driver that might be a mismatch and it didn't take. So you go to the manufacturer's website and install the right driver, and that should fix that printer issue. All right, so then the correct answer for number 4, install the driver from the manufacturer's website. So now on to question number 5. Question number 5, Jenny is preparing to install Windows 10 on a system that has a version of Windows 8.1 installed. The version of Windows 8.1 runs slowly and crashes occasionally. The optical drive also does not work, so Jenny decides to use a flash drive to install Windows 10. Jenny wants to remove all the programs and data from the computer and start over with Windows 10. What type of installation should Jenny perform? So the in-place upgrade wouldn't be alright for this, because it would leave some of the stuff on there that she didn't want. So we can eliminate that one. The custom install would be the correct answer, the second option, because the custom install allows you to select what you want and what you don't want. So you do have the options. The recovery installation, same thing. It's just going to put everything on there that you had before. It's not going to help in Jenny's case. So the correct answer for number 5 is custom installation. All right. So on to number 6. So William Supervisor wants to create a test lab at the company in order to test Windows 10 updates. He has instructed William to create a virtual lab. William decides to use Hyper-V as the hypervisor for the virtual machines. When William tries to use Hyper-V, he realizes that it is not installed. What will William use to install Hyper-V in Windows 10? All right, so here, Windows installation disk. Nope, that's only going to have the Windows operating system files on it. Microsoft website. Not at all, because Hyper-V is not Windows proprietary or Microsoft proprietary. Windows features. Now, Windows features is correct because it does have a Hyper-V selection there that you can enable it along with other settings. So the correct answer for this will be Windows feature. Windows Store is just going to allow you to download certain apps. So the correct answer for number 6 is Windows features. Right, so now on to number 7. Sam would like to install a new application on every computer in his Soho, small office or home office network. All the computers are currently connected in a work group. What is the easiest way for Sam to install the application on all the computers? All right, so the first option, go to the Windows Store and install the software on each computer. That's one way you can do it, but that's the long way. The second answer is the correct answer. Use a network share to share the installation files. So you can do that from one computer and have it do it at the same time. Just point it to the other computers instead of going to each computer and doing it separately. You can do it all in one swipe. The other options, have multiple copies of the software on a DVD. Same thing, you're going to be going from computer to computer. It can do it that way, but that's the long way. and have a USB device for every computer. The same thing. You have to go to every computer. When you can set at one computer with the correct answer, use a network share to share the installation files. You can actually drop those files on the computer from the share file, and then do it from those computers, or you can still go to the computer without having to load anything in there. So the easiest way is use a network share to share the installation files. All right, on to question number 8. Number 8, what is the maximum number of partitions allowed using a GUID partition table or GPT method for partitioning the drive for Windows? All right, so this one is in slide and text. The correct answer is 128. So you have a lot bigger hard drives. The GPT supports a lot bigger size hard drives. 2 terabytes, has to be at least 2 terabytes to be supported by GPT. So that allows you to make more partitions. So these are more for higher capacity drives, higher than 2 terabytes. So the correct answer is 128 for question 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. What type of operating system should you install for best performance when you have enough RAM? So out of all of these bits, or number of bits, today's technology, we're at 64-bit. You might see some 32-bit systems still, but 64-bit is the top notch for today's PCs. So the correct answer for number 9 is 64-bit. So for instance, if you got Windows, your operating system is 64-bit operating system. They do still sell the 32-bit, but it's not really worth it. Just always go 64 if you can. All right, and finally, on to number 10. Question 10. What is it called when software is used to simulate the hardware of a physical computer? So we talk about this in class all the time. We talk about virtual machines or VMs. The correct answer is virtual machine or VM. Because of what it does is you create another computer as on the host computer that works just like another computer. Everything is the same. You need the software, you need the operating system. It does a virtual network connection on its own, but you have a computer built inside your host, and more than one if you want to learn new operating systems, learn new server systems, or just mess around with new software, or even do network, build a network on a host. So virtual machine is correct answer. Compatibility mode is not even has anything to do with virtual machines. Dual boot is when you have 2 different operating systems. So you got Linux operating system and Windows on the same computer, and you're gonna every time you turn it on, it'll ask you which system or operating system you want to boot up into, but you can't boot both operating systems at the same time as you can in a virtual machine. All right. So Windows run as administrator, that's not has anything to do with virtual machines either. So once again, the correct answer for number 10 is virtual machine. All right. So that is module 12. Thank you for watching this video. If you didn't do so, please leave a like and leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. We'll come back on our next video and cover module 13. So take care and have a wonderful day.